What's up? It's your boy, Meme Uncle 23. Welcome to another episode of My Hair is Too Greasy to Have a Modern Hairstyle, so I'm gonna style it in 1700s instead. In this episode, we're going to transform me into a working class woman of the 18th century, which I would say is like an upper working class. The jacket that I'm gonna be wearing today is made of like printed cotton, which would be not super available to like lower classes, but definitely, let's say it's like lower middle class. It's kind of hard to pin down what exactly different classes were wearing. Let me just start with this because like we're not gonna be here all day, are we? It's kind of hard to narrow down what exactly different classes have been wearing, especially that I'm not a member of an 18th century society, so I don't really know what was going on at the time. What is this stuff? Ew. But I will try to recreate a working class look, but again, it's not like working in a field kind of a person. It will probably be more of a servant or basically a person that will have to do their own groceries but not necessarily eat potatoes all the time. So what I'm wearing right now is I'm wearing a shift/chemise, which was worn in the 18th century as a sort of a base garment. It was worn underneath the stays and everything else was worn on top of it. Shifts were kind of like a garment that was supposed to get dirty and sweaty, and then you would just change it and the outer clothing would and the outer clothing would stay clean. Where is it? So first things first, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply some sunscreen. Why, you may ask? Is that a historically accurate makeup accessory for an 18th century working class lady? Well, let me answer you. No, it's not. But it makes my skin look a little bit whiter than it is, so it does work as a sort of a whitening pigment, I guess. And again, a working class woman would probably not be bothered by something like this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it gives a nice 18th century effect. Now I'm gonna use powder before I use the blush because the rouge is hiding behind the powder completely. So now you might have noticed that I completely ditched the foundation and any kind of concealer stuff that I used to have in those type of videos. That's because my skin is finally not rubbish. Since my zits are kind of gone, my acne is away for now, I decided to stop using foundation altogether. The only reason I used it was because I wanted to hide my zits, so they're not here anymore. Now I'm going to apply the blush with my finger because I'm a noob, in sort of like little circles on my cheeks, like not this direction, not this direction, not this direction, like literally right here in front. I'm also going to apply some on my eyelids, which is probably not historically accurate, but it also gives you a little nice touch. Now obviously the makeup I'm doing is not a historical method of applying makeup. It's what I do to kind of achieve that look, but it's by no means following some historical guidelines, so this is sort of like a reenactment edition of 18th century makeup. Welcome back, eyebrows. I'm going to apply like a tiniest bit of brown eyeshadow on my eyelids just because. No particular reason. Not everything has to happen for a reason. Can the focus just stop going crazy for a second? Thank you very much. The only thing I'm missing is some badass lipstick. Now as you can see, I'm not applying it like harshly, so I don't really want the outline outside my lips. I just want them to be more pinkish. Moving on. The next thing I'm gonna take care of is my hair.
It was at this moment he knew. He f***ed up.
Which is in a sore state. So now here is what's convenient about working class outfits, is that hair is practically invisible. Like most of the women wore caps on their heads and really a tiny bit of hair was visible in front. Other than that, no one really cared. It was very practical because obviously you didn't have much time to spend on your hair in the morning. You didn't have a maid to do it for you most of the time, so you don't really get to see much of the hair. But because some of it is still visible, I'm gonna do a little roll in front just so it gives it this nice 18th century feel. So I just sectioned some of my front hair into this sort of structure. And it doesn't really have to be even or anything, no one really cares. And I'm gonna tease it a little bit, but not too much, just so it sort of holds shape. Yeah, just so this doesn't happen. So now I could either pin it up on its own without using any sort of understructure, but because I found that to be quite ineffective because it just keeps flattening, I'm gonna use a sock. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna use a sock. I'm gonna put a sock in my hair. Do you have any problem with that? If so, unsubscribe. So I'm gonna put cotton pads inside the sock. Why? You may ask, because I don't have any other form of cotton available. And because I don't have a professional hair rat, I'm just gonna use a sock. Yes, I am. So I'm gonna stuff it with this just a little bit, so like the middle part is kind of stuffed and then this is not. As you can see, I deliberately used a black sock, like a dark sock, so it doesn't show through my hair, which is obviously a very professional thing to do. Now, I'm gonna pin it in place. I came up with it one day when I forgot anything else to put in my hair, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to work with all I have. Now what I'm gonna do is stuff the hair underneath the sock. This is going unusually well, and I think that's because my hair is so greasy. It just stays in the shape that you give it. Now you may ask why I'm not powdering my hair, because it's supposed to be 1770s and that's when powdering was kind of really hot. The reason I'm doing this is because I've noticed on sources from the era that working women did not have their hair powdered often. That may also be due to the fact that they didn't really have those like high coiffures and they didn't really have fashionable hair. Now the rest of the hair, again, it's invisible, so I'm just gonna put it in a sort of a bun. Flat enough so it doesn't show through the cap, because that's gonna just look awkward. Again, it's gonna be messy, I don't care, because no one's gonna look under the cap, and I'm pretty sure that's how women did it back then too. They were like, no one's gonna take my cap off, right? I kind of look like Claire from Outlander at this point. Okay, now to keep it all from getting ruined, I'm gonna put my cap on. Damn, girl. Watch out for your man, because the cap lady is coming. It's not the best, it's not the worst. Moving on, the clothes. So moving on to the stockings affair. I'm gonna put on my stockings. So my stockings are white, though they could be colored. They could be red, blue. So I'm also gonna tie, it's supposed to be a garter, but I lost my garter, so I'm just gonna tie a ribbon right underneath my knee so the stocking doesn't completely fall. And surprisingly it works quite well, though I'm not a huge fan of the stocking rolling down my knee and stopping where the ribbon is. There you go. So this is sort of a base layer, like the shift and then the stockings. Now we're gonna put on stays, which is gonna be funny considering I have done my hair already and I did not really think of that. So yeah, great stuff. Okay, so here's what happened to these stays. I used to use them with straps on until I noticed it's really uncomfortable and it makes my arms hurt. So I just ditched the straps altogether. I put them inside the stays and I just put them on without the straps on, because even though it may not be that good of a support, at least it doesn't make my arm feel like it's gonna fall off. So now these stays close in front, and I think that would be a typical working class type of stays, though this particular model is 1780s, but 1770s stays with a stomacher in front would be a more appropriate option for a 1770s working class woman. Boobs out, I'm ready to go. Now the next step is a band pad, and because I've noticed my 18th century band pad is not giving me enough volume in the back, I just added an 1840s band pad that I made a while ago and I sewed them both together. This is obviously not the right way to go around it, but if it works, am I right? Now a petticoat. The petticoat, I've showed you this one before. It kind of has opening at sides. You put on the bottom side first. Let me show you. The bottom half first, and you tie it around your waist. And then you put the front side on and you also tie it around your waist. Now, if I was wearing my pocket underneath my skirts, this is probably when I would put my pocket on, but because I chose to wear it outside, as it also is featured in some painting, I'm gonna put it after I put my skirt on. So here goes my skirt, which is made of linen, made the same way as my petticoat is. Also, both the petticoat and the skirt are actually quite short for 18th century, and that's because working class women would usually wear skirts that were much shorter than skirts worn by nobility or like fashionable ladies, and that's obviously for practical reasons, like it's so much easier to be a milkmaid if your skirt is not dragging behind you. So again, I tied the back part first and then I'm tying the front. So before I put any of the other stuff on, here comes my pocket, which is hand embroidered and glorious, but it's not made by me. This is thanks to my friend, and I'm not sure if she made this or if her grandma made this, but it's still gorgeous anyway. So is that blood? And I'm gonna hang it slightly to the side just so it shows from under the apron. And the reason for that is so I can grab it more easily. A fichu is a sort of a scarf that was supposed to cover your boobs, basically. It was covering your cleavage, boobage. And I'm gonna pin it in place just so it doesn't run away when I put the jacket on. Now this thing is probably the most annoying aspect of an 18th century outfit, because whatever you do, it just keeps poking out. Like the back will start rolling once I have the jacket on. It's a nightmare. But it was sort of like a practical thing to stay decent during the day. And because I'm a decent lady, I'm gonna wear it, okay? Here's the jacket. Some of you may recognize this IKEA duvet. Surprisingly, IKEA actually has a lot of really like accurate 18th century fabrics because they copy the extant fabric, and that's what makes it a perfect fabric for an 18th century garment, such as a jacket or even a dress sometimes. So the whole thing closes with pins, which is both historically accurate and very practical for a working class lady, because whenever you gained weight, lost weight, gave birth and your body changed, you could just move the pins slightly. And as you can see, there's a lot of space for altering. Like if I got a bit bigger, all I had to do is just pin it right at the edge. The annoying bit is that it sometimes opens and you end up looking like a moron without even knowing, but the fit on this jacket is not amazing. Like, it was made at the last minute and honestly I'm not super happy with it, but thanks to the pattern it doesn't really show that much that there are so many wrinkles and folds, and just generally it's not looking great. Now the apron. Would you shut up? What's great about 18th century working class is that they mix patterns a lot, and I think that's such a cool thing that I need to explore more in the future, because it just looks so cool, and it's really difficult actually to mix them and get the right look and not look like a crazy cat lady. So I need to get some more inspiration on mixing accurate 18th century patterns when it comes to like the skirt, the apron, the jacket and stuff like that, because it just gives you this really cool folk sort of look. I've seen this look on Dutch 18th century working class illustrations, I think, but I'm pretty sure it was used in other parts of Europe and maybe the world as well. So now I'm gonna put my shoes on, put my neck ribbon on, and I'm gonna be ready to go. Where are my shoes? Where's my maid? Oh wait, I'm the maid. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wear my American Duchess shoes, which are closed with buckles. Should have done it before I put my stays on again. I'm not always thinking. Okie doke. Now let's see the whole outfit, shall we? Thanks so much for watching this episode of Get Ready With Me 18th Century Edition. See you in the next video, I guess. Yeah.